ADOS dude. There was an ADOS dude named Bill something. Bill the Icon.
Bring up all the dirty laundry.
And another thing I want to bring up, about Vlad, and I don't know if a lot of people might know this. If you know this, if you thought about it or not, and this is regards to YouTube, but offering any sort of critical analysis or YouTube's business practices, I'm sure it's risky business. But I wonder if anybody realizes that anybody familiar with Lyor Cohen, former Def Jam guy. Lyor Cohen is actually the head of global music at YouTube. This is his title right now. I'll get back to another clip in a minute. But Lyor Cohen, I just want to touch on this really quickly. Lyor Cohen is the head of global music at YouTube, former Def Jam guy, 300 Music, Kevin Lyle's partner. We all know Lyor Cohen. He's been around the game for a very long time. An Israeli Jew who immigrated here to the United States. And now, after conquering the music business, had his hand in breaking and presenting to us some of the greatest, hip hop artists that we've, known, Again, at Def Jam, he was behind, he did a lot of good and he also did a lot of bad, you know what I mean? But he brought us guys like Jay-Z, DMX, Nori, a lot of huge acts that still are very visible to this day. But he also has worked behind the scenes in many people's opinions to sow seeds of dissension regarding the business of a lot of our prominent artists, and I'm sure you guys are all familiar with the Dame Dash, Jay-Z, Rockefeller debacle, in which it was ultimately decided or confirmed or alleged that, Lyor Cohen was the common denominator between Jay-Z and Dame Dash, spitting in Jay-Z's ear, for him to break off on his own and to do his own thing. Judge that how you might. Not illegal, but definitely, a shady business practice. But these are the things that capitalists do. Jay-Z recent comments about, shying away from the capitalist moniker, to me was a bunch of bullshit. Jay-Z probably learned better than most how to operate in this capitalist system, as he is currently listed as a billionaire. So, stop the cap, Jay-Z. But Lyor Cohen, an Israeli Jew, now the head of global music at YouTube. I'm wondering what's the connection, if there's any connection between Lyor and Vlad. Vlad is a Ukrainian Jew, Ashkenazi Jew. And although Vlad claims to be an atheist, he does pretty much toe the line when it comes to anyone speaking ill on Judaism. So, you're atheist, like, what's the deal? You want to, to me, Vlad wants to ride the fence on all situations. You know what I'm saying? He wants to be a guest in black culture, but he doesn't want to abide by the rules that black culture has put in place, particularly as it relates to hip hop. Hip hop, again, being a subculture. So the rules of the dominant culture are not going to apply down here. We kind of make our own rules. Some shit might rock the same, but a lot of shit's going to be different. And anytime that you're a guest in somebody's house, anytime you're a guest in somebody's culture, even in the military before you're deployed to certain countries with certain strict customs that if you violate might get you in some legal trouble or some issues where you might have to pay a social penalty. You might get caned in certain countries if you break certain cultural customs. They'll train you before you go. Look, in these situations, this is what you do. This is what you say. If you say anything other than this, or if you come looking, saying anything outside of these boundaries, you might expect to receive a harsh penalty. So these things are understood. And Vlad says he's been around the culture since a young guy. So you know the rules, brother. And whether you understand or like them or have any appreciation for them, there's a lot of rules that I don't like. But when I'm moving in the culture, I have to abide by them or suffer the consequences. So if you want to be in the culture, if you want to be a guest of the culture, you got to abide by the rules, baby boy. And that's just, that's free game. And you can't get mad if people start to characterize you in a way that you don't appreciate. It's because you're moving, in ways that the culture is not accustomed to. So if you come in, man, and we walk in a certain way, man, you better learn how to walk that way. So I'm just wondering, what kind of benefits does he reap? Vlad's been a fixture at YouTube for quite a while, pretty much since its inception. He said he hopped in pretty much knowing where it was going. He probably had some connections behind the scenes, and they probably said, hey, man, you want to come on in and get on in and get your foundation set in stone, because this thing's about to take off, and that's what it's done. But I'm wondering if he has any behind the scenes benefit, especially with a guy like Lyor Cohen coming from the music over to YouTube. Now he's the head of global music. Vlad is a DJ. That's his lane, hip hop culture, entertainment. What kind of algorithm love is he getting? These are things that we have to think about.